Welcome to Betsy's Nighttime Comforts. I'm your host, Betsy, and tonight we will continue our tale of adventure and mystery in the small town of Green Hollow, where excitement and unease intertwine under the summer sky. Before we begin, let's take a moment to relax and cozy up. Breathe in deeply. And let it out slowly. Feel the weight of your day lift away with each breath. Inhale. And exhale. Let your mind settle as we dive back into the story. Road Trip, Part 2. Welcome to Green Hollow. As Jimmy pulled up to the front of the Green Hollow Hotel, Mike could feel the anticipation building within them. The hotel stood before them, a quaint building with faded blue paint and flower boxes overflowing with vibrant blooms. It exuded a charm that made Mike momentarily forget his earlier unease about the dark SUV that had been following them. "Here we are," Jimmy announced, putting the car in park. "Let's see what this place is like." Mike opened the car door and stepped out into the warm evening air. He took a moment to appreciate the atmosphere, the sounds of laughter and music drifting from the bar nearby. However, as he glanced around, he noticed the dark SUV parked in the lot, its engine still running and tinted windows obscuring the view inside. A sense of unease washed over him. "I'll check us in," Mike said, turning to the group. "Then I want to see if that SUV needs any help. It's just sitting there." "Are you sure that's a good idea?" Kim asked, her brow furrowing with concern. "Yeah, it could be dangerous," Jane added, crossing her arms. "I'll just be quick," Mike reassured them, trying to sound confident. "It's a small town. They might appreciate the offer." With a determined nod, he made his way toward the entrance of the hotel. As he pushed open the heavy wooden door, a small bell chimed overhead, signaling his arrival. Inside, the lobby exuded a warm, homey atmosphere. The air was filled with the scent of aged wood and a hint of lavender from the potpourri sitting on the check-in counter. A large, ornate mirror hung on the wall, reflecting the golden glow of vintage lamps that cast a soft light across the room. A plush, faded couch sat in one corner, inviting guests to sit and relax. Behind the counter stood a middle-aged woman with kind eyes and a friendly smile. "Welcome to Green Hollow Hotel. How can I assist you?" she asked, her voice warm and welcoming. "Hi, I'd like to check in for 2 adjourning rooms, please," Mike replied, trying to keep his tone light. "Of course," she replied with a friendly smile. Just a moment. She looked up at him, her expression warm but casual. "You're in for a treat here. It's a unique little town." "Unique, huh?" Mike said, raising an eyebrow. Is that code for beware of the locals? Maybe a little, she said with a laugh, but don't worry, they're mostly friendly. Just keep an open mind. After a few moments of typing, she handed him the room keys, 2 antique brass keys with delicate tags attached. Here you go, room 12 and 14, just down the hall. Enjoy your stay. Thanks, I appreciate it, Mike said, pocketing the keys. I'll just be a minute. I want to check on that SUV outside. Absolutely. If you need anything, just let me know, she replied, her smile reassuring. With a nod, Mike turned to leave the hotel. As he stepped back outside, he felt a strange flutter in his stomach. He glanced over at the SUV, which still sat ominously in the parking lot. Hey, did you guys notice that SUV? He asked, approaching Kim, Jane, and Jimmy, who were waiting by the car. It's just sitting there running. Yeah, it's been following us since we got on the highway, Kim replied, glancing over her shoulder. I thought I was imagining things, but it definitely pulled in right behind us. Jane crossed her arms, a worried frown on her face. That's really creepy. What do you think it wants? I don't know, Mike said, his frown deepening as he watched the SUV. But it feels like we're being watched. I'm going to see if they need help. Are you sure that's a good idea? Kim asked again, concern etched on her face. I'll be fine, Mike reassured them. I'll just check in and see if everything's all right. With that, Mike walked over to the SUV, his heart racing slightly. As he approached, the vehicle looked ordinary enough, but an unsettling feeling crept up his spine. He rapped gently on the driver's side window. Hey there, just checking if everything's all right, he called out, forcing a friendly smile. The window slowly rolled down, revealing a middle-aged man with a scruffy beard and tired eyes. We're fine, the man replied, his tone flat and evasive. Just making sure, Mike said, trying to keep things light. If you need anything, or if you're lost, feel free to ask. This town can be a bit tricky. Thanks, but we're good, the man said, glancing around as if he were waiting for someone. Mike nodded, feeling a strange tension in the air. All right then, take care, he said, stepping back and turning to rejoin his friends. He could sense their apprehension as he walked back to them. Everything okay? Jimmy asked, his eyes wide with curiosity. Yeah, just some guy waiting for someone, Mike replied, trying to sound casual, though he felt a knot in his stomach. With the keys to their rooms in hand, the group decided to head inside and drop off their bags before venturing out to explore the town. They were eager to shake off their earlier unease. Once they entered the hotel, Mike unlocked the door to their adjoining rooms. The lobby was dimly lit, with antique furnishings and faded wallpaper that told stories of a bygone era. The air felt thick with history, and the occasional creak of the wooden floorboard added to the ambience. As they entered their rooms, the cozy but dated space welcomed them. There were 2 beds, a small TV, and a window that overlooked the parking lot. A chill crept up Mike's spine, and he couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Okay, this is nice, Jane said, glancing around. Very retro. Yeah, retro is one way to put it, Mike replied, forcing a smile as he dropped his bag on one of the beds. Kim tossed her bag onto the other bed and flopped down beside it. Let's get settled, then hit the bar. I can't wait to meet the locals. As they unpacked, Mike kept glancing out the window, half expecting to see the SUV still parked outside. He noticed it was now positioned directly across from their room, the engine still running. The tension in the air thickened as he shared a worried look with Jimmy. "Hey, do you guys feel like we're being watched?" Jimmy asked quietly, lowering his voice. "I thought it was just me," Mike replied, nodding toward the window. "That SUV has been following us since the highway. Now it's parked right there." Kim looked over, her brow furrowing. "That's not normal. We should probably tell somebody about it." "Let's just forget about it for now," Mike suggested, trying to keep the mood light. "I don't want to freak you guys out. Let's just go to the bar and forget about this for the night." "Are you sure?" Jimmy asked, still looking uneasy. "I think we should do something about it." "Look, we'll investigate later," Mike insisted, trying to sound more confident than he felt. "Right now, I just want to have a good time." With a collective nod, they decided to put this strange find aside for the moment. They locked the door behind them and made their way back down the hallway. As they stepped outside, the sounds of the bar beckoned them, but Mike's mind was still racing. What had they stumbled into? With the unsettling feeling still lingering and the SUV parked ominously nearby, he pushed the thoughts away and focused on the excitement of the night ahead. Once they reached the bar, the atmosphere enveloped them. A mix of laughter, clinking glasses, and upbeat music that filled the air. The locals were animated, sharing stories and engaging in playful banter, their faces lit with joy. "Wow, this place is jumping," Jane remarked, glancing around at the vibrant scene. "I love it." "Let's grab a drink and mingle," Kim suggested, already pulling Mike and Jane toward the bar. "I want to hear all the crazy stories." As they approached the bar, a cheerful bartender greeted them. "Welcome. First drinks on the house, if you can tell me the wildest thing that happened on your trip." Kim raised her hand again, ready to share their mishaps. "We almost blew a tire and then met a ghost who told us to avoid the haunted hotel down the street." The locals erupted in laughter, clapping and cheering. "Ghosts are just our friends who haven't introduced themselves," one man shouted, raising his drink. As they settled into the bar, the energy was infectious, and Mike felt the earlier tension begin to melt away. The locals were friendly and welcoming, sharing tales of their own adventures and traditions. "Just wait until you hear about the festival happening tomorrow," a woman named Betty exclaimed, her eyes twinkling with excitement. "We've got everything from adult football to art competitions and, of course, the beauty contest." "A beauty contest? Now you have my attention," Kim said, her excitement palpable. "What do you need to do?" "Just show up and wear whatever you got," Betty laughed. "Last year we had a guy in a chicken suit compete against a woman in a long old lady dress. It's all about having fun." "I'm definitely in," Kim declared, already envisioning herself in her swimsuit, strutting down the runway like a model. This trip just got a lot more interesting. Mike, still feeling a bit uneasy about the hotel and the SUV, tried to push those thoughts aside, focusing on the laughter and camaraderie around him. Maybe the receptionist's comments were just part of the charm of this little town. After all, it seemed like they were in for a wild ride, and he couldn't wait to see what else awaited them. As the evening rolled on, they laughed, sang along to the music, and mingled with the locals, forgetting all about their original plans. The bar was alive with energy, and the warmth of new friendships began to envelope them. Finally, after a round of drinks and a few hilarious stories, Mike leaned in closer to Jane and Kim. "Okay, but seriously, let's keep an eye out for anything strange, all right? Just in case." "You're such a worrywart," Kim teased, nudging him playfully. "But fine, we'll keep our eyes peeled. Just promise to lighten up a little." "Deal," Mike replied, raising his glass. "To new adventures and quirky towns." "To new adventures," they echoed, clicking their glasses together. As the trio enjoyed the rest of their night, laughter and camaraderie filled the air, setting the stage for the unexpected adventures that awaited them. Little did they know the night still held secrets to uncover, and the charm of the town was just beginning to reveal itself. After a lively night at the bar, the group made their way back to the hotel, their spirits high despite the earlier unease. The laughter and chatter from the bar still echoed in their minds as they approached the entrance. As Mike stepped into the dimly lit hallway, he felt a lingering sense of caution. He turned to check on his friends, who were just a few steps behind him, when something caught his eye. There, just across from the room, he thought he saw the man from the SUV slip into a room. The sight made him halt, his heart racing as he stood there for a moment, looking up at the cameras in the hall. "Did you see that?" he whispered to Kim and Jane, who had just caught up with him. "See what?" Kim asked, her brow furrowing with curiosity. "The guy from the SUV. I think he just went into the room over there," Mike pointed, trying to keep his voice steady. Jane exchanged a worried glance with Kim. "Should we say something?" Before Mike could respond, he felt a chill run down his spine. The unease he had pushed aside earlier began to creep back in, wrapping around him like a cold blanket. "Let's just keep our distance for now," Mike suggested, glancing toward the door the man had entered. "We'll figure this out in the morning." As they retreated to their room, Mike couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. He locked the door behind them and leaned against it, taking a deep breath. Dear listeners, as you drift off to sleep, ponder this. In every adventure, there are twists and turns that lead us into the unknown. How do you navigate the shadows that linger at the edges of your experiences? Do you comfort them or let them guide you to unexpected discoveries? Whatever choice you make, remember that every journey holds a story waiting to unfold. Pleasant dreams and good night.